Youth sports isn't the enemy, it's the opportunity. Hey, I'm Pastor Matt here with your Missionary Pathway Mission Insight, and I know this insight right from the beginning sounds incredibly controversial for many of you, because the reality is this: we're all experiencing the tension of realizing that less and less people are filling the pews and more people are filling the soccer fields. And I'm not picking on the soccer fields on Sunday morning or saying that we shouldn't be worried about people gathering together in worship. What I'm saying is, when we as the church pit youth sports as the enemy against the church, we miss out on the opportunity God is giving us. See, the reality is this: when we say youth sports is the enemy, you're not going to connect with people that are already more connected to sports than they are to church. They are where they are. You're going to create a lot of tension, though, for your potential missionaries. The people who are living out their faith and trying to live in the tension of a culture that is always on, where there are no boundaries around work or youth sports, and they're trying to connect people to the gospel. But when we pit youth sports as the enemy, we miss out on the opportunity to equip them to share the gospel with people that would never walk through the front doors of our church until they have a chance to meet Jesus. And so how do we move from a mindset of youth sports as enemy to youth sports as opportunity? Well, the first shift is simply this: we need to shift from a gathered to a scattered mentality when it comes to sharing the gospel. You know, the problem was our main mode for sharing Jesus was making sure that people were in the church. Now, is that wrong? No, it's not wrong to share Jesus when people are in the church. In fact, you should be sharing Jesus when people are in the church, and assuming there's some disconnected people that are getting connected in your church. The problem is when that is the only vehicle for sharing Jesus. And when we have a gathered only mentality and we forget that our people are scattering out throughout the week into places and spaces that the church would normally not be open to go, we're missing the opportunity to equip them to share the gospel where they're already going. So the first thing we need to do is shift our mentality from a purely gathered mentality to a gathered and scattered mentality. The second shift we need to make is this: we need to shift from an invitation to worship to an invitation to relationship. See, the opportunity that youth sports gives you is the opportunity to build relationships with people you wouldn't normally get to build relationships with. You get to build relationships with people because your kids are on the same sports team. It doesn't matter if you have the same career field, if you live in the same neighborhood, you get to connect, and you get to connect regularly and frequently with the other parents of the kids on those teams. So when you do that, you get an opportunity to have conversations and build relationships. And if all you're ever able to do is simply invite somebody to church to share Jesus, then you're going to miss the opportunity of inviting somebody into relationship, because relationship is the best vehicle for sharing the gospel. Third point is this: we need to shift from sharing Jesus in church only to sharing Jesus in your context. We need to equip and train our people to be able to share their faith in their context, to be able to move beyond simply saying, just come out to my church and my pastor will tell you all about who this Jesus guy is, to being able to articulate their faith, to share their own story, and to be able to share the story of Jesus in their story. The more we can do that, the more opportunities people are going to have to be able to share Jesus in the places they're already going. And then finally, we need to shift from only being able to disciple in the church to being able to disciple people in their context. When you can make a disciple where somebody is already going, where somebody is already at ease and comfortable, then you have the opportunity to connect somebody to Jesus who probably wouldn't have walked through the front doors of your church to meet him. And then once they're connected to Jesus, the chances of them connecting to your local church is definitely a lot higher, because they're not coming to your church to try to get to know somebody they don't know. They're coming to your church to then grow in a relationship with somebody they've already had an opportunity to connect with, Jesus. And if you can teach people to disciple people in context, you are going to open up opportunities for impact in your church that your church has never seen before. So let's stop seeing youth sports as the enemy. And let's just focus on equipping people to be able to see it as the opportunity, giving them the tools and the resources they need to be able to make those basic shifts in their thinking so that they can view sports their kids are involved with or other activities that might be there, it's not just sports, as an opportunity to build relationships that lead to people connecting to Jesus. Hey, if you need help with that, I want to encourage you, check out the Missionary Pathway. The Missionary Pathway is a simple and free training resource that you can get plugged into. And when you plug into a Missionary Pathway cohort, you have the opportunity to learn how to make these shifts that can turn youth sports from an enemy into an opportunity. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this insight, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Mission Insights.